Everyone, it's been a minute, but I had to move and get settled in kind of, so my videos haven't been as frequently, but I've still been doing a lot of reading, and unfortunately with really great books, in between those come the bad. So today I will be reviewing two books. Well, one's a short story. Actually, this book right here called Nookietown by a V.C. Vickering. This is what I'll be reviewing today, and I'll try to make it as quick as possible for those, one, because I don't want to talk about this book any longer than I have to, and secondly, this may be of interest to some people or not, but anyways, here we go. So this book, to make a long story short, it's about a 40-something divorcee who's very horny. She wants to have sex, but she doesn't want the attachment involved. She tells her married friends this. There's mixed feelings about it. And then she basically comes up, her and another, I think, group of divorcees come up with this harebrained scheme that they're going to solicit their, what's the word I'm looking for? Their services for, okay, let me back up. So basically, when I told you earlier about how the main character was lamenting to her married friends about how she wasn't having enough sex, they in return, the married friends told her that like all her husbands want is sex and they just want to be left alone. They're really not into it. They just want to like raise the kids or do whatever it is that people with kids do. So she hears this and she's like, oh, well, this is like something that's kind of in demand. Like I can provide these sex services in your husband's, we'll have sex with your husbands, and they'll leave you alone and you can get stuff done around the house. That's pretty much how this starts. So in some way, everyone agrees to this, and of course, like shenanigans ensue. So she's able to have sex with, some of her friends' husbands, and of course there is awkwardness in it, but eventually this service kind of like, it becomes kind of somewhat successful among this New Jersey community. So I think the book is entertaining, but for me, where it fell to the left, where I didn't want to like invest any more time in this, and this is a major spoiler. So whoever has watched this or whoever's read this, you'll know what I'm talking about, and others. Or if you're like me, where you kind of don't, if a book looks terrible, a movie looks terrible, you don't care about spoilers, then please listen. So in the book, like she is starting to date in between all this sex that she's having with these married people. She starts a relationship with a guy who, unbeknownst to her, is married. I think she suspects that he's married, but she didn't want to kind of like face the music, so she never asked him like officially what his marital status is. In any ways, so once she finds out, she's kind of horrified, but then like she ends up going not back to him, but she ends up calling him and it's like, I don't care if you're married, I just want you. So the reason why I take issue with this is because in the book, I believe her husband left her for another woman. And I can't remember if it was actually like suspected infidelity or confirmed, but I think it was suspected. But at the same time, like I was sympathetic to this character until she did this, where she's just like, oh, I don't care that you're married, I just love you so much. And then like when I was reading this, she was giving me very much like Carrie Bradshaw realness. Like, I mean, there's a million people out there who fall in love with people who do them wrong and continue to do them wrong. But for some reason, Sarah Jessica Parker was, Carrie Bradshaw was the first person who like popped in my mind. And so I was reading this and I was like, oh my God, like, have you ever read a book and you just felt betrayed? Like the book was good until it got to a certain point and you just were like, okay. I felt the same way about Americana, although Americana was a far superior book than this. But, so anyways, yeah, so she basically starts making after she finds out, this guy's married, she starts making a series of like self-destructive decisions, and she ends up being pregnant. She doesn't know who the dad is, doesn't even know where. I can't even begin to tell you like all the ridiculous things that this main character has done. Like she ends up the married guy that she's sleeping with. They actually in the one time in the book like use a condom, and she actually like he discards the condom, but she takes it upon herself because she's so desperate for kids and she likes this guy so much. She takes the condom, like reopens it, takes a turkey baster from her kitchen, and then injects herself with sperm, and then feels terrible about it. Like it's just, I don't know, like I just, this book to me, and it had a very cookie cutter like happy ending on top of it. So I wanted to like this book, but because this character reminded me of a lot of like, you know, Carrie Bradshaw-esque people, I just like, I can't like this book. I mean, it was entertaining up to a point. She started doing all this self-destructive shit, and I just feel like I don't know, like I know everybody's different. I feel bad, but like I just have a hard time feeling bad for like characters who I feel like at a certain age know better, and they continue to do self-destructive. I mean, that's a lot of people. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I'm reading this for entertainment. I don't know what I was expecting from this book, but not that. She just took a turn to the left, and her decision making was a hot mess, and I just was like, this is not enjoyable. Because I think to a point a lot of people are like this. So anyways, would I recommend it? I think it depends on where you're at in your life. Honestly, I was enjoying it up to a certain point, and then I was like, I don't want to read this anymore. In fact, I think I even got to like page 3. It's 351 pages. I was like at 320, and I was like starting to skip stuff because I was like, I don't even enjoy reading this anymore because this story is just like a fucking mess. Excuse my language. And it just was, I just couldn't stand it. So I don't know. I give it a D-, and then I don't ever want to read it again. Second book, moving on to something more pleasant. This is Brokeback Mountain. This is actually a short story which was turned into a movie many, many years ago, and I saw the movie and I loved it. And so generally when I read a book or when there's a story, I like to read the book before I see the movie, just so I can hold, you know, I guess not hold the movie accountable, but if there's any changes, I at least know it, and then kind of make my decision on how I feel about it based on, you know, the book and what I've read. So it's only like 64 pages, and I think it did. There's nothing new. I mean, if you've seen the movie, like I think like the movie did a really good job summing up what was, or putting on screen what was in this book. Like I don't think there's anything, like I was reading this, I don't think there's anything that the movie didn't mention or didn't talk about that was in this book. You know, a lot of times movies make a lot of edits and changes, and you're like, what just happened? A good example of that, I'm going to probably review it, is The Beach, if I haven't done it already. I just read The Beach by Alex Garland. The book is really good. The movie's garbage, and I love Leonardo DiCaprio, but they were like, since I just watched it like 2 weeks ago, they completely left out the character of Jet. For anybody who has read The Beach, that's a fairly important character, integral part of the story. Anyways, that was just an example of like movie magic that has changed, you know, the story. But anyways, Brokeback Mountain, I highly recommend it. Like I said, I don't think there was anything that the movie didn't. I don't think there was any changes, if I remember, that the movie did with this short story. I hope that makes sense. Basically, sorry, that's my dog whining in the background. She wants to go to sleep. Anyways, I don't think there were any changes. I don't think, please correct, if whoever's watching this, please correct me, but I think that the movie did a really, really good job of not changing anything. So when you read and the movie is pretty solid on its own, let me just say, but I think that it definitely did the short story justice. And that's really it. I would recommend this 64-page short story over this 350-page hot garbage. I'm sorry, VC Chickering. Like, you really had me into a point. I was like, this is entertaining. And then she started doing a bunch of dumb shit that she should have known better. So, anyways, thank you for listening to this. I'll talk to you guys soon. Okay, bye.